Yes, this is quite difficult because the my briefing note says in a couple of minutes just summarise the day, which frankly is extremely difficult. I mean, it's I wrote down some words. I wrote down wow as one, educational, stimulating, informative. Notwithstanding headlines, notwithstanding what one might read in the newspapers, etc., aren't humans wonderful? Just the sheer work and type of work, the ingenuity, the thought, the passion that goes into so much that we've seen and heard today is quite inspiring. Obviously, we had Rosie speaking for around the National Trust, a huge organisation that's got to move in a particular direction, massive amount of work there. We had the Decide project talking about making sure citizen science is targeted, and that stimulated a lot of ideas and talk on the chat, which is really good to share that. There's individual focus areas of focus, particularly the students. I mean, it's always wonderful to hear from that, just very detailed work from students who are fairly fresh to the to perhaps the sector, but using all the skills and the know-how around the sector to the extent they can. And I talked about tools earlier, the tools to be able to, so we've heard about the auditing from Daniel, and you've heard about the NBN Atlas from Sophia. So I started off talking about the challenges today, and we've heard about the biodiversity crisis and the challenges that throws up. But I think the other thing I would take away, apart from the general wow factor and from all the speakers, is just I do feel optimistic, and I think I can't help but finish my takeaway with the 5 points that Craig made, because it certainly resonates with me as having been through the strategy process and developing a strategy, which Lisa was talking about earlier for the NBN Trust. Those 5 things, I think they're worth repeating. Purposeful use of data, and we around the board are very keen to really start focusing on how's it being used. So is this data having an impact? So purposeful use, sweating the assets, embracing citizen science, how to deal with big data, and ensuring that data skills and the right culture are developed. And I think those are the 5 points, as well as all the plethora of other stuff that we've learned today, I will certainly take away with me. And finally, I'd just like to say some thank yous. One is for one of our trustees who stepped down just recently, Andrew Wood, who stepped down from the trust after 14 years. He brought his experience from what was the Countryside Agency in the Natural England, and played a really important part a lot of the time as treasurer, as well as just a trustee. And so he's been involved in financial and operational issues, had a long stint as treasurer. And so I'd just like to say on behalf of the trust and the network, thank you, Andrew, for his long service, and wish him well for the future. And finally, a thank you to all the speakers and the presenters for excellent talks and giving their time to support the conference. And also to the team who have supported this. There have been glitches, but as you can imagine, when there are glitches, it's when these teams are at their most frenetic, putting things together and making sure things get back on track. So I'd like to thank Mandy Henschel, Herber, Giselle and Katie from the NBN Trust team, and the teams at Open University and iSpot, Rachel Redford, Sam Hazel and Janice Anseen, and all once again provided invaluable support in helping to set up the conference and see us through the day. I'd also like to thank Habitat Aid for generous sponsorship once again this year. And finally, thank you all for attending and supporting this year's event. Looks like it's probably the largest gathering we've ever had, and we really do appreciate the support. I hope you felt the wow factor of what we've seen and heard as much as today. Just a reminder that we have the NBN Awards coming up, starting from 4 p.m. in this room again at 4 o'clock. If you can join us, that would be great to see the awards handed out. And to you all, thank you for coming. Hope to see you again next year. Will it be face to face? I'll leave that as a question mark. In the meantime, have a lovely evening, and thank you very much for joining us. Thank you.